The little girl's cry cut through the park like a crack in glass. High, sharp, and trembling. Heads turned, but people quickly looked away, as if hoping someone else would step in. Children kept playing on the swings, parents checked their phones, joggers kept moving. But Maria couldn't look away. Maria was a nanny, not the glamorous kind with shiny cars or perfect uniforms. She was the kind who worked 3 jobs, who walked to save bus fare, who patched her shoes with glue because buying new ones wasn't an option. She was poor, yes, but she was also rich in something most people seemed too busy to hold on to anymore: compassion. She noticed the little girl standing near the fountain. 6 years old, maybe 7. Blonde curls tangled around her face, her dress wrinkled, her small fists clenched. Tears streamed down her cheeks as she scanned the crowd, desperate and lost. Without thinking, Maria hurried over. She crouched low, meeting the child's eyes with the gentleness of someone who knew pain, but never stopped giving comfort. "Sweetheart," Maria whispered, her accent soft and warm. "Her you lost." The girl's lips trembled. My daddy, he was here. And then I couldn't find him. I don't know where he is. What if he left me?" Her little voice broke on the last words, so full of fear it pierced Maria's chest. Maria's own memories stirred. Nights when she'd been left alone as a child, when her parents worked endless shifts and she cried into her pillow wondering if love could get lost in the world. She swallowed hard, forcing her voice steady. No, sweetheart. He didn't leave you. Sometimes in a big place people get separated. That's all." The girl sniffled, glancing around the bustling park. "But what if I can't find him?" Maria reached into her worn handbag and pulled out a tissue. She wiped the girl's cheeks gently. "Then we'll find him together. You're not alone now." The girl studied her for a moment. The ragged coat, the tired eyes, the kind smile, and slowly her shoulders relaxed. She leaned into Maria, small hands clutching the fabric of her sleeve like a lifeline. For the next 10 minutes, Maria sat with her on the park bench, telling her silly little stories about friendly squirrels and brave ladybugs, weaving magic out of ordinary things until the girl's sobs softened into hiccups and then into giggles. People walked past them, smiling briefly, but no one stopped to help. To Maria, it didn't matter. The only thing that mattered was that one frightened little girl wasn't scared anymore. "Do you know your daddy's name?" Maria asked softly. The child nodded. "Daniel." She hesitated, then added, He works with big buildings and people in suits. He's always busy." Maria smiled, brushing back a curl from the girl's face. "Well, I'm sure he's busy looking for you right now." Just then, a man's voice tore through the crowd, raw, frantic, desperate. "Emma," the girl's head shot up. "Daddy," she cried, leaping from the bench. Maria turned, and her breath caught. The man pushing through the crowd wasn't just any father. He wore an immaculate navy suit that probably cost more than Maria made in months, a watch that gleamed with the kind of wealth she couldn't even imagine. His face, handsome, chiseled, but twisted in fear, softened instantly when he saw the girl running toward him. He dropped to his knees and swept her into his arms, holding her so tightly it looked as though he'd never let go again. His voice shook as he murmured against her hair, "I thought I lost you, baby. I thought I lost you." Maria stood, suddenly feeling invisible, suddenly aware of the faded coat she wore and the shoes that had lost their shine years ago. She started to turn away, quietly, the way she always did, slipping back into the background of life. But then the man's eyes met hers. He noticed her. For a moment, he just stared, taking in the way she knelt beside his daughter, the tissue still in her hand, the kindness still lingering in her gaze. And something shifted in his expression. Gratitude, respect, a kind of realization that went deeper than words. Did you stay with her?" he asked, his voice low, raw. Maria nodded. She was frightened. "I couldn't just leave her." He stood slowly, his daughter clinging to his side, and extended his hand. "I don't know who you are, but you just gave me back the most important thing in my life. Thank you doesn't feel enough." Maria flushed, shaking her head. No thanks needed. She just needed comfort. Any parent would want that for their child. But he didn't let go of her hand. His grip was firm, his eyes searching hers. Most people walked past. You didn't. The little girl tugged at her father's sleeve. "Daddy, she made me laugh when I was crying. She said squirrels have secret adventures. The man smiled faintly, then looked back at Maria. Emma doesn't open up to strangers easily. You must have a gift. Maria swallowed hard, unused to praise, unused to being seen at all. I know what it feels like to be scared and alone. No child should feel that way. There was a silence between them, filled with unspoken truths. Then, almost reluctantly, Maria stepped back. I should let you two go. She's safe now. But as she turned, his voice stopped her. Wet. Please. Can I at least know your name? She hesitated. Maria? Maria, he repeated, as if memorizing it. I'm Daniel. She already knew his type. The wealthy, the powerful, the unreachable. But the way he looked at her now wasn't with the indifference she'd expected. It was with something else. Something almost vulnerable. Maria, he said again, softer this time. I owe you more than I can ever repay. Maria shook her head, smiling gently. The smile on your daughter's face is all the repayment I need. And with that, she walked away, her coat swaying in the cold breeze, disappearing back into the crowd. Behind her, Daniel stood frozen, his daughter holding his hand. He watched until Maria was gone, his mind still turning, his heart still shaken. Not just by the fear of losing his child, but by the quiet, extraordinary kindness of a stranger who had nothing, yet gave everything. And for the first time in years, the millionaire CEO realized that all his money, all his success, meant nothing compared to the richness of a moment like this, where humanity outshined everything else. Daniel couldn't sleep that night. He lay awake in his penthouse apartment overlooking the city skyline, his daughter finally safe and asleep in her room down the hall. But Maria's face wouldn't leave his mind. The softness in her voice, the way she'd knelt in the dirt of the park without caring about her clothes, the way his little girl had stopped trembling in her arms. He was a man used to deals, to numbers, to contracts signed in glass offices. He could solve problems with a phone call, move millions with the click of a button. But when it came to the most important thing, his daughter's heart, he realized he'd been helpless. A stranger with patched shoes and tired eyes had done what he, with all his wealth, hadn't been able to do. She had made Emma feel safe. The next morning, as Emma munched her cereal, she looked up at him with wide eyes. Daddy, do you think we can see Maria again? I liked her. She didn't rush me. She listened. Daniel paused, his chest tightening. He reached across the table and tucked a curl behind his daughter's ear. Yes, sweetheart. We'll find her. And he meant it. For 3 days, he sent his assistant searching. They combed through the park, asked street vendors, checked with local community groups. Finally, one afternoon, his assistant walked into his office with a slip of paper. She works as a nanny, sir. Lives in a small apartment across town. Daniel didn't wait. He drove himself, something he rarely did, and parked in front of a crumbling old building where laundry hung from fire escapes and children played with chalk on the sidewalks. It was a world away from his marble floors and glass towers, yet somehow it felt more alive. When Maria opened the door, her eyes widened. She hadn't expected to see him again. Monsieur, Daniel, she said, confused, clutching the edge of her faded cardigan. He gave a small, genuine smile. Just Daniel. May I come in? Her apartment was tiny but spotless, smelling faintly of fresh bread. A few children's toys were scattered in a basket, reminders of the jobs she juggled. She poured him tea in mismatched cups, apologizing for the chipped rim, but he didn't care. He'd never felt more humbled in his life. Maria, he began, his voice steady but full of emotion. I came to thank you properly. You didn't just comfort my daughter. You reminded me of something I'd forgotten, that what children need most isn't wealth or gifts. It's presence. It's kindness. You gave her that when I didn't. Maria looked down, embarrassed. I only did what anyone should do. No. Daniel said firmly, leaning forward. Not anyone would. Most people didn't. You did. For a long moment, their eyes met, and something unspoken passed between them. Two worlds colliding, but not in conflict. In recognition. Then Emma peeked out from behind Daniel's legs, her face lighting up. Maria, she squealed, running into her arms. Maria hugged her tightly, her heart swelling. That moment sealed something none of them could explain. From then on, Maria wasn't just a stranger who helped in the park. Daniel asked her to become Emma's nanny officially. though he offered her more than she'd ever imagined earning. At first, Maria hesitated. Pride told her not to accept charity. But when she saw Emma's hopeful eyes, she couldn't say no. Days turned into weeks, and Emma flourished. She laughed more, slept better, and opened up in ways Daniel had never seen before. He noticed something else too. Maria's presence brought peace into their home. She didn't just care for Emma, she reminded Daniel of life's simplest joys. She reminded him to pause, to listen, to laugh. And slowly, something unexpected blossomed. Not fast, not dramatic, but gentle, like spring after a long winter. One evening, as they watched Emma chase fireflies in the garden, Daniel turned to Maria. "You've changed our lives," he said quietly. Maria shook her head. "Emma changed mine. She gave me a reason to believe again." Their eyes met, and this time, Daniel didn't look away. Neither did she. By the time the seasons shifted, Maria was no longer just Emma's nanny. She was family. Emma's laughter rang louder, Daniel's smile came easier, and Maria's heart, once heavy with loneliness, was full. A poor nanny who once lived in shadows had walked into the life of a terrified little girl in the park. And unknowingly, into the heart of a millionaire who discovered that true wealth was never in his bank accounts, but in love, kindness, and the family they built together.